Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is almost time. Less than 24 hours before the final Big 12 championship game for the Texas Longhorns. It is Saturday Eve. Thank you for joining today. It is the MoBetta Sports Show. I am your host, Antonio, aka Mr.MoBetta, and we got a lot to get into today. Of course, we've had Big 12 honors come out this week with a ton of Texas Longhorns in that mix. We've got college football playoff rankings to talk about. Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we won't touch too much on that. We kind of know the committee is fucking us over. But of course, most importantly, we have Oklahoma State in Arlington. 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Look, man, it's the final Big 12 championship for the Texas Longhorns. It is going to be epic. And we're going to be breaking that down for you today. So be sure you stick around. Alright, man, before we go ahead and get into any Big 12 championship talk, I think it's only right that we get to talking about the all-conference players. The tons of players that were nominated to the all Big 12 conference team, whether that be first team, second team, honorable mention, I think there was something like 26 players. So we're going to go over some of the main awards. Of course, to no one's surprise, and I think it would have been crazy to give this award to anybody else in the country, you had the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, big dog, big man on campus, going and making his money worth, the number one overall interior lineman, at least in the conference, T'Vondre Sweat. Incredible achievement for him. Coming into Texas as a 3-star athlete, I wouldn't say he was undersized, but not nearly the size that he is now. Didn't have the most productive of careers to begin his career here at Texas. Stayed an extra year when he could have left for the draft after having a pretty solid year last year. Turned into one of the best interior linemen in the entire country. T'Vondre Sweat, that award is much deserved. I'm really happy for the big man. Put in a crazy ton of work, and now he's finally getting to enjoy the fruits of his labor. Second major award. Again, another no surprise here. Adonai Mitchell coming in as the newcomer of the year. The kid comes in as a transfer from Georgia. He's won 2 national championships with that team. Transfers to Texas. Is an immediate impact player. 9 touchdowns on the season. He absolutely could have 11, 12, 13 if there weren't some plays called back. If there weren't some, hey, we know how it goes, man. Could have had easily double-digit receiving touchdowns. Arguably the most beneficial and best addition to this team that we had in the offseason. And really, I don't even think it's close. Jalen Catalon didn't come close to making an impact like Adonai Mitchell did. None of the transfers that we had did. Trill Carter didn't, even though he had a great season. He was injured to begin the year, but he had a great finish to the season. Adonai Mitchell, there's no question he deserves the Newcomer of the Year award. Then, of course, we have the Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Another no surprise, Anthony Hill had a monster season, giving us a glimpse into what the next, at minimum, 2 years is going to look like for what is looking to be an absolute superstar in the making. Anthony Hill Jr., freshman linebacker, winning the Freshman of the Year award. I know that it's a co-defensive player or a co-Freshman of the Year award. He shared it with another player, maybe 1 or 2 others. But in my opinion, there's no better freshman in the entire country than what Anthony Hill has been this year. He's been an absolute dog, and he's progressed every single week. And you've seen the progression show, not only in his tackling ability and his ability to read the offense, but his coverage abilities, his intelligence on the field. Everything has massively improved, and he's only going to get bigger, better, and stronger, which is a scary thing for opponents going into these next couple seasons. And of course, you could not complete the Big 12 awards without giving Byron Murphy his flowers. Byron Murphy coming in winning the Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year. Could easily have been given to T'Vondre Sweat. I don't think you could have given anybody else the Player of the Year award, so that's why T'Vondre Sweat is getting that. But absolutely, them two are without a doubt, the two best interior linemen in the conference, arguably in the country, and much deserving of these awards. Now, I'm not going to touch on too many others. I know that we had a few second teamers. We had Quinn in the second team, or maybe he was in the honorable mention. Jahdae Barron was a second team Big 12 defensive player, which makes absolutely no sense. He's by far, hands down, far and away, the best defensive back in the Big 12. It's not even a competition, in my opinion. Probably giving these 26 awards that they already gave it hurt the committees. It hurt these voters. They don't want to give Texas their flowers. They have no choice. We gave them no choice. They gave them no choice, I should say. We didn't give them anything. The players who won the awards gave them no choice. But I think it is absolutely criminal that Jahdae Barron was not given a first-team All-Big 12 award. It is what it is. If anything, that's going to add extra motivation going into tomorrow morning's game. It's championship weekend, man. We got everything is on the line here. But Oklahoma State wants to come in and be the team to send Texas in the SEC with the L in the biggest game of the year. I feel like I say that every week. That's because every week has really been the biggest game of the year for Texas, because every week has been a championship week. And Steve Sarkisian and the players have even come out and said as much, right? Every week has been treated like it's Big 12 championship week after the loss to Oklahoma, because essentially it has been. Look at where it came down the stretch. If Texas is a 2-loss team in the Big 12 at this point in the season, they lose that head-to-head matchup, and we're going to watch Bedlam all over again in the Big 12 championship. So every week has been a Big 12 championship game for Texas, and every week they have executed and won those games. And here we are. The penultimate game in the Big 12 conference for the Texas Longhorns. The penultimate game. I don't want to say it's a historic rivalry, but this rivalry goes back a long time. Oklahoma State, much like Oklahoma, has owned Texas for a majority of the last 10 seasons, which is insane. Like, it's a crazy thing to think about. I think they've won like 6 or 7 of the past 10 meetings, something like that. So if you think that Texas is overlooking Oklahoma State, or thinks that Oklahoma State is going to be a breeze, which I think that they should be a breeze, in these players' minds, they're giving it everything they got. This is their one last chance to show dominance, to show that we reign supreme over the Big 12. So one last chance. And when you have players snubbed of awards, when you have the team being snubbed out of a potential college football playoff spot, best believe ain't no talking points needed. Not only did, again, another week where we were fed talking points by this time head coach Mike Gundy, talking about how Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy are they're just 2 linemen. We got to block them like we've been doing for the past 15 seasons against Texas. Mike Gundy has added fuel to the fire. Not that any fuel was necessary, but he gave them what they needed. I would think that at this point, teams would have learned to not give this Texas team any extra motivation. Is this the most talented and the most put together Texas team that we've ever seen? I think that 2005 was by far and away that, right? 2009 even was extremely, extremely talented. But this team, I would say outside of the 2005 team, is probably the most talented and most well-developed and put-together team that we've had on the 40 acres. We can get 2009 their flowers. They did their thing. They were in the championship game without Colt McCoy. With Colt McCoy, they probably win that. That's a debate to forever be debated. It is what it is. This is the most complete championship team that we've had on the 40 acres in over a decade. And the first time that we're having the chance to go win the Big 12 championship since 2009. It's been 14 years, man. And for that, it feels excellent. It feels great. But I think that this team knows there's unfinished business at hand. We can't squeak out of this game. Texas just has to blow this team out and leave no question who the best team, who one of the best 4 teams in college football are. And even though I believe that they've shown that over the last several weeks, they have to leave no question. Now, with that being said, we know the type of team that Oklahoma State is. They are a run-first power football team. They're going to pull guards. They're going to pull tackles. They're going to pull linemen to try and get up to the second level and create some holes for Ollie Gordon. They boast the best running back in the Big 12 and arguably one of the best running backs in the country in Ollie Gordon. He's running, again, something like 200 yards every damn game. He's got I think he's actually got closer to 20. I think he's got like 20 something touchdowns, as a matter of fact. Ollie Gordon is their X factor. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and start breaking this down right now. Ollie Gordon, number 0, running back. He is their X factor. Much like Jay Brooks was for the Texas offense early in the season, he is what makes that team go. It is going to be imperative for the Texas Longhorns to continue to do what they have done time and time again this season, and that is make teams one-dimensional. And if you can make this Oklahoma State team one-dimensional and keep the ball in the hands of Alan Bowman. Sorry, I know that there was a pause in between that. It was because I was trying to think of a cool, slick, sly nickname to give him for how bad he is. But there's really no nickname for being bad. You just suck. So Alan the Suck Bowman. We need him to have the ball in his hands as often as possible. If we can get Alan Bowman to throw the ball 30 to 35 times in the game, we're going to win this game by 14 to 20 points. I would almost be willing to bet my entire life's worth on that fact. If Alan Bowman has the ball in his hands, Texas is going to win this game handily. And one thing that Texas has done time and time again, like I said, is take away every team's strength. We know that the strength of the Oklahoma State team is in their running game. Let's just start there. The strength of this Oklahoma State team is in their running game. They do tons of power. They actually run the ball out of a multitude of formations, whether it be shotgun, whether it be under center. They do go under center and run the ball a lot as well. They run a lot of traps. They run a lot of power plays. Their whole ambition, their whole goal on offense is to get their linemen up the field and into the secondary. They want to get them up into the second level. Excuse me, not the secondary. I mean, I'm sure they'd love to get into the secondary, but they want to get to the second level first. Get the linemen on linebackers. Now, one thing that Oklahoma State has not had to deal with, of course, is 2 of the best interior defensive linemen in the entire country. Absolutely wrecking shop and taking away your front, right? T'Vondre Sweat regularly occupies at minimum 2 people, because if you don't put at least 2 people on T'Vondre Sweat, he will make the play in the backfield every single time. The same really can be said with Byron Murphy. Murph Dog is a damn animal. He is what he is. He is what his name calls him. He is a dog. He is a battler in the trenches, and he fights through double teams just as well as T'Vondre Sweat, sometimes even better. What is it going to take for Texas to create or to force Oklahoma State to be a one-dimensional team? It is going to require T'Vondre Sweat and Byron Murphy eating up 3 to 4 people in the middle of the field. Ollie Gordon, as great of a, well, I wouldn't even say he's great, as good of a running back as he is a very simple runner. He gets to the hole and he will explode through a hole and he can make you miss, and he's a strong runner, right? That's one thing about Ollie Gordon. He's a very strong runner. He's great after contact, but he's not your hit the hole, make you miss, bounce it outside, spin, break a tackle, this, that, and the other. He just wants to get up the field. He's a north and south running back. Texas has so much speed and so much strength on that interior. I think that Ollie Gordon is going to have a really tough time running through the middle of the field. Even running outside. They're going to try and do some outside pulls. Anthony Hill is going to have to have a really good game reading poolers, as well as Jalen Ford. But this front 7 of Texas just absolutely stifles running attacks. And we've seen it all season long, whether it be Kansas State, whether it be Oklahoma, whether it be Alabama, whether it be Wyoming, whether it be anybody. Any of these run-first teams have had to completely abandon their game plan almost immediately because they cannot run the football. 9 yards rushing for Kansas State. One of the best rushing teams in all of football at 9 yards rushing. I'm sorry, they had 30 yards rushing, 33 yards rushing. Iowa State held to 9 yards rushing. Texas Tech was the only team that was able to put up more than 50 or more than 70 yards rushing. I think they actually cracked 100 on Texas. The only team to crack 100 yards, and a lot of those yards came in just trash time when they're just trying to move the ball. Taj Brooks, for the most part, even though I think that Taj Brooks is actually a better running back overall than Ollie Gordon is. Taj Brooks was the one that was making plays, breaking tackles, bouncing off people, extending plays, and getting the extra yards. He did an excellent job for Texas Tech. And even at that, Texas Tech was completely inept otherwise. Oklahoma State is a lot like Texas Tech in the sense that they can run the football, but if the ball is in Alan Bowman's hands, they don't have... Not only do they not have the big play threats on the outside, but Alan Bowman is just not a good quarterback. He's thrown 6 interceptions in his last 2 games. Now, while he's thrown the ball for 40 plus times in his last couple games, and he's had, I think it was 6 or 7 touchdowns, he's had equally as many interceptions. So the kid will give you plenty of opportunities to get the ball back and separate in this game. It is no doubt in my mind that Alan Bowman is going to give Texas a number of opportunities to have extra drives. Whether it be throwing interceptions, whether it be fumbling the ball, the D-line getting to him, doesn't matter. He holds the ball too long. He makes bad decisions. He throws the ball into coverage constantly. He asks for teams to try and take the ball from him. It's like he's daring them, right? And you're going to dare the wrong team. That's all I'm telling you. The way that this Texas secondary has been playing the last couple weeks has been out of their minds. The more aggressive PK has gotten, the more he has allowed his team, his corners, his athletes to get up to the line of scrimmage and just play one-on-one man coverage. Look at what Manny Muhammad has done. I mean, the kid has been a lockdown corner for the last couple of weeks. Terrence Brooks is really starting to come into his own. He's a technician by trade, right? He is a technical corner. He is excellent in man coverage. He's good in zone. Don't get me wrong. They are good in zone, but they are excellent in man coverage. And when the receiver can't get off the ball, like the receivers in this conference have not been able to separate over the last couple of weeks when Texas is just playing extremely aggressive football. And I expect that to be the case tomorrow morning. I expect PK to even ramp up the aggressiveness. I expect PK to blitz early and often, to play his corners tight, to play his safeties tight, because Oklahoma State doesn't have people to get over the top of us. They have a couple of decent playmakers. Brennan Presley, number 80. He's 5'8", 170 some odd pounds. He's a burner, right? He can get over the top, but it's not like he's just going to outrun everybody on the field. Rashad Owens. He is probably their brightest point in the receiving corps. He is not the most dynamic playmaker, but the kid plays hard. He's tough. He's physical. He reminds me almost. I know this is gonna be a crazy comparison, so I might be chopped to shit for this, but in terms of his physicality, he reminds me a lot of Deebo Samuel. He is a physical wide receiver. He's built like a running back. He's not that explosive, go over the top, make huge catches, huge contested catches, but get the ball in his hands and get him in space. He can make some things happen, right? I think we have the secondary to take those two away, to neutralize them completely. And I don't think that Alan Bowman has the skill set or the mental fortitude to stand in that pocket when you have players like T'Vondre Sweat and Byron Murphy and Barron Sorrell and Ethan Burke and Anthony Hill coming at you. He's not going to have the fortitude to stand in that pocket and deliver accurate passes downfield. I think the Texas defense is going to have the biggest game that it's had all season long. And that's saying something coming off a 57-7 victory. Now, maybe Oklahoma State is able to score a touchdown or two. But in terms of domination, I would not be surprised if Oklahoma State has less than 100 yards rushing, less than 200 yards passing. I won't be surprised. I look at their games. I've gone back and I've watched them play teams like UCF, even Oklahoma. The only reason that Oklahoma State was able to get out of that Oklahoma game with a win is because Oklahoma turned the ball over like 5 times. Self-inflicted wounds, right? Oklahoma State was fortunate to squeak out of that game with the win. Kansas, they go play Kansas. They're playing a third-string quarterback. Again, squeaking out of that game with the win 32-31. Another game they should have lost. Turnovers, plaguing Kansas State. And now, while you have to give the defense, the Oklahoma State defense, some credit in the sense that they are forcing these turnovers. It's more like they're coming up with these turnovers, right? They're not really forcing anything. If anything, it's the quarterbacks or the players on the opposite side that are just giving these turnovers up. Outside of, say, you look at the BYU game, another game that Oklahoma State absolutely should have lost. A team in BYU that is on a 4-game losing streak. They started the season 5-2, have been 0-4 since then. They go into that game, they're 5-6. Take Oklahoma State down to the wire. They're winning the game for a majority of the game. Literally like 55 minutes out of that game, they were winning. Oklahoma State ties it up. They go into the double overtime. Oklahoma State, their safety gets a good strip on Isaac Rex and takes the ball over, and they win the game 40-34. Because let me tell you something. The more that I go back and I watch these games, it's not so much the Oklahoma State offense can move the ball. Mike Gundy is a great coach. Now, is he good enough to have won Big 12 Coach of the Year? I think that is absolutely crazy when you lose to South Alabama and you have a double overtime game against BYU and you lose to Iowa State and a team that had lost a majority of their team to gambling violations, lose to them in the 4th week of the season when they're still trying to figure out who the hell they are or what they got on their team. I think, if anything, the award should have gone to Brent Venables. To go from, 6-7 or 5-7 previous season, they're 10-2 this year. They didn't get to the Big 12 championship game, but they had a much better turnaround than Mike Gundy did. I think Mike Gundy winning the Big 12 Coach of the Year award is just insane. Again, these are awards voted on by people that don't watch football. That's all I can say. The more that I listen to national media coverage and I listen to college football playoff committees and I listen to these people giving out awards and talking about who's the best at this and that and the other, the more I am solidified in my understanding that these people do not know or do not watch fucking football. They don't watch it. They don't know it. They don't watch it. They don't understand it. Or else these awards and these things that are these selection, these rankings, these wouldn't be the way they are if they actually did watch football or had any type of football IQ. But I digress. Mike Gundy won Coach of the Year because he was able to get Oklahoma State into the championship game when they were literally left for dead after that South Alabama loss. I have to say that I am surprised that Oklahoma State has made it this far because I go and watch that defense play football and they are absolutely pathetic. The defense for Oklahoma State is so disgustingly bad, it is almost embarrassing to watch. And there's one player in particular. I believe his name is Kendall Daniels. Number 5 for Oklahoma State. They're free safety. They play this 3-down, 3-deep safety look like we've seen Iowa State do, like we've seen Kansas State do, like we've seen several teams do, Houston, Bama, whatever. They run the 3-down, 3-high safety look that we've seen a ton of times. A type of defense that honestly Sark has found the answer for, and I think we've seen that over the course of the season. Number 5 is the softest player I have ever watched play on a football field. And that's saying something because I watched BJ Foster at Texas for 4 years. I watched number 25 at Texas show up week in and week out and be the absolute most disgusting thing I've seen play football ever. Like I could not tell you how many times I watched BJ Foster and just did not understand why he still took a field. I don't even know why he played football for as long as he did, because he didn't look like he enjoyed it. It looked like he hated being out there. Number 5 is like that, but times 10. He gives up on plays constantly. If you get one step past number 5, he starts to jog. Doesn't even attempt to play anymore. He's soft. He doesn't like to make tackles. He hates contact. I watched a receiver go and put him on his ass. A receiver that was maybe $160. Put number 5 on his ass. He shied away from the hit. He's soft. Anywhere that he goes on the field, you just throw the ball in the area that he left and it's going to be a completion. It's going to be a big play. He is literally the weakest link, and I want to say like in all of college football. It has been, I watched 5 games and I literally just could not take my eyes off of how bad he was on the field. It was disturbing for me as a football watcher, but I can't imagine what the team meetings are like when they go in every week and they watch number 5 on film. The fact that he continues to line up and be a starter is insane to me. That tells me that there is zero athletic ability behind him. The Texas offense has a chance to do something really spectacular in this game. We have been down our most important players almost every single week of this season. Time and time again, this Texas team has shown up to games without their best players on the field. Look at what happens when the Texas Longhorns are at full strength, full capacity, clicking on all cylinders. Arch Manning went into the game with 3 minutes left in the third quarter against a team that was down to the wire the final 30 seconds of the game. Texas Tech was losing 31-30 to the number 5 ranked team in the country right now in Oregon. I don't even want to get into that talk. I don't even want to get into that argument about Oregon because it's a one-loss team that just shouldn't be where they are. I'll just leave it at that. Texas had their second string team in the third quarter against a team that took the number 5 team country down to the wire with 30 seconds remaining in that game. Trounced them 57-7. When this team is at full capacity, there is no more balanced and there is no more well-equipped team in the entire country to go beat anybody. Anybody. Michigan, line them up. Ohio State, line them up. Oregon, definitely line them the fuck up. Washington, line those motherfuckers up, please. I know Texas would love to get another shot at Washington after last season. Again, the only team that I truly believe at this point in the season has the capacity to just match Texas stride for stride, player for player, skill set for skill set, talent for talent, physicality for physicality, it's the Georgia Bulldogs. I will stand by that. It's the Georgia Bulldogs. I get that Alabama's been playing really well. They've been playing great down the stretch. It's not like Texas has not gotten better since that 10-point victory. If Texas goes to play Alabama again, easily it could be another double-digit win. And in that game, again, Texas had 2 or 3 touchdowns called back or missed. That could have been a 20-point victory. This year, where we are, we're 11-1 in the Big 12 championship game. And this team has the potential to be one of the best teams that has ever been seen on the 40 acres. And at this point, it's crazy to think they legitimately are one of the best teams that the 40 acres has ever seen. This team is on the path to being historic. And who would have thought that at the beginning of the season? Now, we knew they had talent. We knew they had the good coaching staff. We knew they had players that could make big plays. But when they put it all together, I mean, they just absolutely look dominant every game. And that's the crazy thing. They've looked dominant every game despite some of the games coming down and being close games, right? All the games that they've been in, they've been 10 to 20 point victories. Or 10 to 20 point leads at some point in the game. Texas has a chance. This offense has a chance to go and obliterate a defense that is beyond abysmal. Their D-line gets no push. Their D-line cannot sack a quarterback. Their linebackers are soft. And their safeties are some of the worst safeties I've ever watched play football. Literally, man. Like, it is baffling to me that Oklahoma State is 9-3 with the defense that they have. It is baffling to me that team was able to hold Oklahoma to 24 points. Now, again, self-inflicted wounds still held them to 24 points. I would not be surprised. I'm telling you right now, I think that Texas puts up another 50 burger. At least 40. I think they score at least 40 on this team. It's not going to be close. It is going to be a 20 plus point victory. I'm calling it now. Whether Oklahoma State scores a couple touchdowns doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, Texas is going to run away with this one. We are going to give the committee such a difficult time trying to leave us out of the playoff. And you know what? If they do leave us out of the playoff, it is what it is, man. Because I have no doubt in my mind that this team can play with any team in the country. I have no doubt in my mind that on any given Saturday, on a neutral field, on any field, you line this team up across any team, they can beat any team in the country, period. I don't think anybody argues that. We have one more game, man. We just got to go take care of business. Take care of business and show everybody what this team is all about. Whether we get into the playoff or not, who cares? The goal to begin this season, win the Big 12 championship. We are 60 minutes of football away from doing that. We have less than 24 hours. We have less than 24 hours to see the final Big 12 matchup for the Texas Longhorns. I am so super fucking excited. I am so excited. I think it's going to be a blowout, man. I don't think that Oklahoma State can hold its water to this team at all. I can't wait to send Oklahoma State and the rest of the Big 12 out with the saddest fucking season they've had in a long time. The last 15 years is going to be the saddest fucking season for the Big 12 to watch Texas walk out of that bitch with a Big 12 championship and fuck you on the way out into the SEC. And we're going to beat Georgia in the playoff. We're going to beat Alabama in a regular season. And we're going to walk into the SEC as the top dogs in our first year there. Call me crazy. We'll revisit this. Just imagine, man. Imagine Texas getting the chance to play Georgia in the first game, the semifinal, to knock Georgia out again, stop a three-peat national champion. The third time, we did it to Nebraska. Y'all might be too young for that. Did it in Nebraska in the 90s. Did it to USC. We had a chance. I pray to football God that we had the chance to get Georgia in the first round and in their chances for a three-peat. That would be the sweetest shit we could possibly. That would be the sweetest ending to this season we could possibly have. Now that we don't get to beat OU in the Big 12, of course. The sweetest way to end this season would be to take down the mighty fucking Bulldogs, man. 29 game win streak, snap it. I so fucking hope we get the chance. If not, no matter what happens, this has been one of the best seasons and one of the most fun seasons I think I've ever watched. I've ever witnessed through the adversity, through all the tough games, the nail biters, the great execution, the clutch plays. This team is clutch, man. They've been clutch all season. All the stakes. This is the pinnacle. This is what they've been aiming for all year long. They're finally here, and they have the chance to show everybody why they're here and why they deserve to be in the playoff. It's going to be a great one, man. Y'all do not want to miss it, I promise. All right, man, that's going to go ahead and do it for me. There's not too much more to say, honestly. There's not too much more to say. We got all the championship games coming on tomorrow. It's going to be a hell of a day of football. I know that. We won't get to know our fate, really, until 7 p.m. Ducks play, Huskies play, and also we got Louisville and we got FSU. We need Florida State to take that L, man. And they're without their second string quarterback is what it sounds like. Louisville has a real chance to go pull that upset. We got to see it, man. We're going to have a great day of football. It's going to be wonderful. Hopefully I'm coming back tomorrow or Sunday, and we're singing a great tune. I hope so. I'm going to let you guys get out of here. That's going to do it for me. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Go ahead and smack that subscribe button for the culture, man. For the culture. We know about culture, right? That's what we're here for. For the culture. Go ahead and smack that subscribe button. Hit the like video so we can spread the word to the YouTubeverse, to the college football world. And of course, turn those notification bells on so you never miss anything that we got coming for you. Because remember, no matter where you look, there's no better place than MoBetta Sports for your latest football takes. This has been the first episode of the MoBetta Breakdown. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm out of here. Peace and hook 'em.